going to begin again. Go ahead and find your comfortable seat. Let your spine be nice and long and erect. Start to slow down our breath and go inside. You might soften your eyes or close them. And letting our belly relax, feeling the air go all the way down into that low belly region, right? And on our exhale, we're going to let out a sound in the sound of a ooh, something that your body just feels naturally wants to come out. So a lower sound, maybe to really ground in from that place below the belly, below the navel. So take a few breaths, and on the exhale, ooh. Belly to relax. Ooh. Ooh. Continue to breathe fully and evenly and naturally as we bring our fingers up to our heart and just gently tap around the heart area. Stimulate the thymus and the heart as we breathe. Good. And then bringing our hands up to our head. Just a gentle massage of our scalp. Stimulate the channels that run through there. Pick up our head. Always get a little tingle when I do this. And then bringing our fingers to our ears, gently massaging, pulling, squeezing around the ears. And then bringing our fingers inside of our ears and just gently pull down, hold for a nice big breath. Letting the body relax, let go. And then bringing our arms out from our shoulders and gently moving our spine by reaching forward, pulling the spine back, and then letting our arms come back and lifting the heart. Just letting the spine wave forward and back, right? Whatever feels good to you. Just allow the spine to move and undulate in the arms. Spine goes all the way from the tailbone to the top of our head. So, good, and then we'll come up and go ahead and bring your feet out in front of you if they're not already into a butterfly, long-legged butterfly. You might have a pillow underneath your legs if you like that. And we'll come forward and relax over our legs for a little bit here. Just letting your torso relax. If it's comfortable to allow your head to drop. A nice stretch in our spine. Massage your feet if you like while you're here as well. pose is nice to start in order to gently open the hips, stretch the sacrum and the hips in the back and sides, gallbladder channel a nice stretch as well. Also allows us to give our feet a little bit of love. So we can massage and squeeze, rub the toes and the feet or wherever, whatever feels good to you. Also a good easy pose to start looking inside and investigating any parts of our body that might feel slightly tense, or just noticing what's going on. And breathing into any areas that might feel a little bit tense, whether that's in your body or your mind or your heart. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and press ourselves up to sitting. And lift the knees. You have a pillow underneath your knees, you can scooch it out. We're going to straddle the legs. So just finding a straddle that works for you to begin with, making sure that our pelvis is upright and it's not tilted back. So if it is tilted back, you want to sit on something or bring the legs closer together. Good. And then we'll go over to our left leg and just start to let our torso relax over the left leg, sits bones anchored here. Feel free to put a pillow on top of your legs, on this leg if you like, and let your arms rest on it, or you might like to put your arms on top of your leg or on either side of your leg. Just starting to feel that pull through the top and outer part of our right hip. Also might want to check and make sure that our toes of our right foot aren't turning inward. And as we start to feel comfortable in the pose, we might want to widen the straddle a little bit more, or not. And also put something underneath your knees if it pulls on the knees to be in this position. Like a little folded up towel under your knees. Something like that, that would just kind of let your leg relax and your knees relax. We can bring our right hand behind the low back area and just do a little bit of a turn to face forward, noticing a little shift in that stretch. If you feel like you want to add more to that stretch, you can take your arm overhead and it can either be straight or you can bend it or relax your hand on your shoulder or yeah, just whatever works for your body on this side, right? Or you can keep your hand behind your back or even on your leg. This, of course, will increase that stretch through the side of our right hip and our right side in general, under the shoulder. And you need a little more support on the right arm. You can also just kind of find a way to rest your head on your left hand. You need that support for your head and neck. Depending on where we want that focus of the stretch to be. Personal preference. Your arm is over your head. You might want to just let it float back down toward the leg. And we can turn and face our leg again. Start to feel yourself sinking a little deeper into this pose by now. And then we'll take our left hand just to the outside of our left leg. Lift the torso. And take your right hand just to the outside of that left leg. We're just going to spiral into a little bit of a twist here. So lengthening the torso, lengthening the spine. Gently press into your leg and look behind you. It's just a very small twist. And then we can come back to face the leg again and just relax for a little bit longer over our left leg. Still sinking a little deeper into this pose. It's okay if you aren't able to get your torso all the way down to your leg. As long as you feel supported, you can relax. We'll start to press ourselves up using the hands, walking up to sitting. And we can just do a little lean back. Let your legs come into the center so that you can give them a rest for a moment. Maybe windshield wiper or shake your legs, whatever feels good to your, especially the inside of the legs. And then we'll come back into our straddle, finding what feels right for you. And turn to the right leg. Again, you can have a pillow on top of your leg and just kind of relax forward on top of that, or whatever works for you here. Just letting go into that pose. Making sure our sits bones are all the way down, not pulling ourselves off of our sits bones. Checking in with the breath. Always yin, we want to find our edge. That edge will vary in different poses. It might be with how wide our straddle is in this pose, or how far down we come to our leg. And then we stay there. Allow our body to be supported in any way it needs support. We can let go into the pose. Yin might seem like it's easy, and some poses are not, are pretty easy. But holding a pose can be, for a long period of time, can be not so easy. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. Especially if you want to challenge your edge just a little bit. Find a little more resistance. Every day is different. Of course, yin is a body meditation. So we use the pose to get into our body, not the other way around. Use the pose to go deeper inside. When we release, we're able to release at a body level. It has a ripple effect to all the other levels. So let's just bring our left hand to our low back and just turn a little bit forward here. You can face forward with your hand here, or you can bring that arm overhead if you like, depending on how it feels on this side. For any amount of time, any length of time, to stay there very long. It's just a short time. Of course, it's our breath that circulates the chi, circulates the energy throughout the channels, throughout the fascia. We always want to make sure our breath is even, not labored, full. If your arm is over your head, you might want to let it start to come back down toward the leg and just allow your body to start to turn toward your leg again. We can bring our right hand just a little bit behind us and press the torso up. And then lengthening our spine, we'll gently press with our left hand into the outside of the leg and spiral back. So without pulling ourselves off center, just lengthen and twist over to the right. You might notice a little more pull on the inner left groin and thigh area. And then we'll come back around to face the leg one more time, just relaxing forward for a little bit longer. The long held stretches going deep into the fascia. Allows the blood flow to really get in there and the nourishment. That deeper layers need. Okay, we can start to slowly walk our torso up. Using your hands, always moving slowly to come out of a pose so that our connective tissue come back gently. And I'm going to come to the center for a little bit. So maybe a pillow or just bringing your arms onto the ground here. Relax forward between the legs. Again, your straddle might want to change or it might want to stay the same. Feeling the stretch in the sacrum area, deep in there. Really get that deep sacrum stretch. Whole hip area, as well as the groin and thighs. Cover a lot of ground when we're in a straddle. A lot of benefit to this pose. Okay, so we can go ahead and start to bring ourselves up, feet to the top, and lean back a little bit. Let the legs come together and maybe bend or whatever feels good to you. I like to bend my knees after a straddle and do a little windshield wiper. So whatever feels good to your hips and your legs here. Lean back. And let's go ahead and bring our feet in toward our hips with our hands behind and kind of pull the shoulders back and maybe lift and lower the hips a few times. And we're going to come around to our belly next. So have whatever props you have close by. And we'll start with an infant pose. So bring your arms next to your side and draw the shoulder blades together and lift up and reach for the feet. So just like locust in yang yoga. So we can activate and engage our backside here. Then we'll bring our elbows under the shoulders to come into Sphinx. Let your pelvis and your body rock a little bit side to side to get used to the pose. Get used to the back bend. You might find that your butt muscles still tensing from all that forward folding too. Right? Sometimes we need to engage the muscles a little bit so that they feel, well, particularly that the joints feel protected. In this case, the sacrum joint. And if you like, you can also lift the feet or do any of the variations of Sphinx that we know. Holding on to the foot, pulling that leg in if you like to get a little extra stretch in the front of the thigh. Besides being nourishing for the sacrum and the low back, of course, we're also getting into the kidneys and the kidney channel, right? Very nourishing for the kidneys to be in any kind of a back bend. Activating that door of life, which is between the second and third lumbar vertebra. Chinese medicine calls the door of life. We house our Jing energy, our essence. So we're going to break tradition today, our Sphinx tradition, and we're going to be pressing ourselves up onto our knees. If you're able to. If you're not able to, you might come onto your back or another position. And we're just going to do a little movement of our spine, curl the tailbone under, rounding the low back. You might like to press your hips towards your heels. And then coming into an arch, just gently moving the spine. So back and forth between that rounding and arching. And then we'll circle our hips around a little bit and just kind of let the body go so the spine can go in whatever direction it wants to go, and relax the head, hopefully. And then circling the other direction. Loosening up our hips and our spine. And then from here, we're going to come into a down dog. So tuck your toes, lift the hips. And hopefully allow your head to relax and just let stretching the heels down. And then we'll bring ourselves back on to our knees and bring your whatever foot is facing the screen, go ahead and bring that foot forward. Now, if you can't do this on your knees, come onto your back, of course, into a supine lunge. And we're going to bring our right hand onto the ground, our backhand, our backhand onto the ground, and come into twisting dragon. So just gently pulling your right leg towards you and twist whatever leg is in front towards you and take a twist to the back. Yeah. Just allow your hip to relax. Now, if this isn't doable for you, you might choose a different dragon pose. If you're having to be in a lunge on your back, of course, you can just pull your leg down toward the ground as if you're lunging on your back with the sole of your foot facing the ceiling. And this can be a lot for that arm, that supporting arm. You can always have a block underneath your elbow and put your elbow down like this. Or some other variation of the twisting dragon theme. So we won't stay here very long. Okay, and then bring your other hand down that's holding your leg and bring yourself around so that you can take that knee underneath you. Stretch back for a moment to the heels. And then we'll come up and bring the other foot forward. And if you need a block here or like some kind of a bolster for your hand, and we'll take hold of this leg and twist and look over that shoulder. Of course, always feel free to come in and out of a pose, especially one that's more strenuous, right? So in and out anytime. Okay, we'll come up back around to face forward and bring that knee back under you. And then bring both hands out in front, widen them a little bit wider. And we're going to sink down into a lifted seal pose. If you're able to keep your pelvis up off the ground, you can put a pillow underneath your pelvis for support if you like. Make it a little easier. Or you can also just choose to come back into Sphinx or a seal with your pelvis on the ground. So any of the variations that feels right for your body here. Feel free to move in and out of any of those variations for a little bit longer. So, deep stretch in the front of our torso, and that if you're doing seal, right, and that compression into the lumbar area of our spine. And then we'll go ahead and come out from whatever variation you're doing and come into a child's pose. So you might like to widen the knees or have them together. If you need to be on your back, come into a happy baby pose. Okay, so we'll come out from our child's pose or happy baby pose. And coming onto the back, go ahead and lie down and hug your knees into the chest. Relax your body around. You might like to stir your legs while you're here. Just let your legs relax into your hip socket. And then we'll cross our whatever leg is to the back of the screen. And you might have a bolster or a pillow on that side to the back side. You're going to straighten your other leg, reach through and grab hold behind your thigh. So our foot is crossed above the knee, above the ankle. And we'll just let our leg hang out in the air for a moment. You can move your foot if you like, circle the ankle or whatever feels good to your foot. Having the leg in the air is a nice way to help the blood flow come back toward the heart. And if you want, you can bend that leg and just let it relax. And we'll feel that nice stretch in the outer part of our hip and our piriformis as we hold on either behind the thigh or might like grabbing underneath the knee on the shin, pulling your leg towards you that way. Whatever, you could also press your elbow into the leg, into the bent knee there. Increase the stretch that way. You also might like to curl up towards your leg and kind of pull it in a little bit more toward the head. Also, something I like to do in this pose, just kind of around the back. But feel our belly muscles engage. And then we'll let this foot come down to the ground and bring your arms out from your shoulders. Sway the legs over to that side until your foot comes onto the ground. You'll find if that knee is pointed upward, interesting stretch through the hip there, outside of that right hip, or the back hip, whatever hip is being stretched. And you could also, if you prefer, you could just cross your legs and let them relax that way. If you prefer that over this position. And we can just lift the legs up, and we're going to sway them the other direction, either in this figure 4, or if you prefer, you can stack your legs and take them over to that side. Really, it's up to you. And you might like kind of a bolster there to help support that leg. And we can go ahead and lift our legs back to the top and uncross that leg that was on top. Maybe grab hold of both knees and give them a little hug, and might curl into a ball or your body around whatever feels good to you. Here, to your back and your hips. And then we'll cross our other leg on top so that it's above your ankle, above your knee, and this leg is straight. Grab hold of your thigh. Gently pull that leg toward the legs towards you. Move your foot, your ankle, whatever feels good to your foot and your ankle. Allow the blood to come back towards our heart on this side. Anytime you want to just bend that leg and let it relax, you can keep gently pulling the legs in or grab hold underneath your knee. Whatever feels good to you to get that stretch, right? In this side. Might notice our breath getting a little bit deeper and fuller. Usually by near the end of the class, it's noticeably deeper and fuller. More relaxed. If you do have a bolster on that other side, you can also at some point move it over to the side where you might need it to get there. And we'll go ahead and bring our foot down, arms out from our shoulders, and sway over to the side where your foot can come all the way to the ground. And you might even grab hold of your foot to help pull it in a little bit more so that knee points up if that's comfortable for you. Feel free to explore that stretch. We can just lift our legs back up and let them sway the other direction. And you might bolster underneath if you want for that side. Anything that helps support the leg because it may not go all the way down to the ground. Or it may. Let's slowly start to lift our legs back up the top and bring your knees into your chest. Again, maybe your body around, maybe curl into a ball, whatever feels good to you. And we'll just find a comfortable position to take a moment to integrate. So feet on the ground or legs extended or whatever feels good to your body. Take a moment to breathe and allow that chi to circulate fully. And notice how we feel. So notice how the body feels after poses. And notice how your mind is and your breath. Really breathing fully, deeply. Giving thanks, especially at this time of year. We're entering that time of Thanksgiving. Giving thanks to our body. Giving thanks to our breath. Thanks to the earth. Giving thanks to all the cells of our body. All their little cell brains that continue to function without our needing to interfere. And just taking as long as you need to lie there, to feel content and integrated. Get up whenever you feel like you want to get up slowly. Sure you get up slowly. And thank you all for coming.